welcome to the Lately in PHP podcast, Hangout, whatever we do this time. I don't no longer know what to call it because it also have been some live coding session, but we have not been able to set it up this time. But we are here to talk about PHP, and as always, I have here with me Arthur Sosis from Latvia at a very late time of his day. Hello, Arthur. How are you doing?
Oh, it's actually have been quite sunny recently, like an hour ago. So when I went to record this, it was still bright here, but now it's already getting dark.
I forgot that your summer has arrived. But we are here to talk about PHP. We have several interesting topics, specifically regarding upcoming developments for PHP 7.2 performance. But let's review the topics briefly, if I am able to find the topics here.
Okay. Oh no, he lost the topics?
No, let me... I don't know. I'm not sure if this is going to work, because last time I tried, I could not share just a specific screen. I had to share the whole screen. So just let me know if this works. This one.
Loading.
Loading. Not loading at all.
I think it's stuck, yeah.
Or?
Still stuck. Oh, now you're moving.
No. So I guess I have to share the whole screen.
Yes, don't have secrets from us.
No, I just have to stop. Stop WhatsApp here. It's popping off. Everybody, I don't know if everybody uses WhatsApp in your country, but over here it's crazy.
Yeah.
Let me share the screen now again, and for the whole screen. Where is the button? Okay, let's share the screen. Oh, the inception.
Wow.
Effect.
Cool.
Can you see
cool
it now?
Yep.
Okay, so this time we are going to start talking as usual, starting from the latest PHP versions. There is PHP 7.019. Not many new features to talk about, actually mostly bugs, and the same practically for PHP 7.1.5. That is probably more or less the same list of fixes. So moving on to the actual topics, we start from a topic about an hybrid VM patch that is being proposed by Dmitry Stogov. He is the leader of the team that is working on the improving PHP performance, specifically the upcoming JIT engine for PHP 7.2, but he is proposing an improvement now that can benefit PHP even if you are not using a JIT. So the next topic that we are going to comment is about an extension for accessing Raspberry Pi, or is it Raspberry Pi? I'm not sure anymore.
Pi, maybe.
Yeah, from PHP. Then we are going to talk about a proposal to eliminate a pseudo type for null parameters in PGO. PGO prepared statements. Each parameter value has a type, but when it's null, it's not really a type. It's null. It's not a specific type. So the proposal is to basically eliminate the type parameter, but we'll get on back to this later. Then we are also going to talk about the issues related with accessing web servers using secure connections with TLS. Now that SSL, all the versions are deprecated because they are insecure, there is a proposal to kind of force that, at least in PHP 7.2, you do not have your PHP code establishing unsecure connections with SSL servers that may still support SSL.
Only SSL.
Yes. Okay. There are also we are going on also to talk about the latest tutorial articles published on the site, but this month I also do not have much time because I'm in the process of making many things. So this month will be a shorter hangout. So back to the topics. First, we talk about PHP versions, and we had in May PHP 7.0.19. I'd already looked at this. It didn't seem to have many important bug fixes.
Oh, there is one interesting in the core: endless loop bypassing execution time limit. So basically,
right.
if you have an endless loop somewhere, and it would even continue executing outside the time limit if you set on script or that one. So I think it could be quite relevant. Others, yeah, not much.
Yes, but would endless loop be of something in your PHP code?
Probably.
I mean, or some function that was called and lasts forever.
Could be both, I guess.
Sometimes you do a slip 1 million seconds. It's not exactly PHP code that is running.
True. I don't know specifics.
Probably, I think the example here, it seems to be called new non-existing class. And then it would throw an error, and then the error would not do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not sure what is the example here, but well, it makes sense that.
So basically, they made a infinite recursion. When error, you're instantiating non-existing class, which raises an error, which itself is an error handler. So it's again calling itself.
Yeah. Okay, I see why that is an infinite endless. Okay, moving on to the PHP 7.1, there is 7.1.5. There is also the reference to that same bug, but there are a few more bugs specific to PHP 7.1. I already looked at this, didn't find anything specific, but I confess that I'm not using PHP 7.1 yet. Maybe in the future, when I have time to test all the code that I have, maybe in new projects, I start migrating things. Okay, I guess there's not much to talk about PHP 7.1 also. So moving on to the next topic, this is probably the most interesting one because although it's a bit complicated to explain, it is related with improving the performance of PHP. In the case, it's a patch from Dmitry Stogov, the PHP core developer that is working on speed improvements at PHP, specifically the JIT engine that eventually will come to PHP 7.2 or 8.0. But he is proposing a new VM instruction to dispatch technique. This is a bit complicated. But well, the bottom line of the consequences that will provide a 1.5 times improvement on small benchmarks. These are basically benchmarks that are CPU intensive. I mean, no I/O, just probably not very realistic benchmarks, because what the code that is in bench.php is not the usual code that you have in your PHP applications. It's just something to test the speed, and real-world applications, they do not have so much all this CPU intensive. It's often I/O operations like database accesses, and but this will provide an improvement. But he is saying here that well, not here in this post, but in the discussion, that this will also benefit when PHP use a JIT engine in the future. So
yes, that they're not exclusive, but what concerns me a little, maybe even more than a little, but so basically there was an old VM which I think was called Call VM or something like that, and now this would be a hybrid VM, and they want to apply this because it's internal optimization, and he's a great maintainer and been with PHP for a long time. They want to apply it without an RFC, but it has some backwards compatibility issues, specifically with debuggers like PHP DBG or Xdebug, so they could not connect to it and get the stack traces and stuff like that, like they used to do with the old VM. So it would break compatibility with them, and doing this without RFC might not get enough attention for others to know about it.
yeah, by the time they try those debuggers, they wouldn't work, and lots of people would be annoyed.
Exactly, yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know who manages those debuggers, but they should be aware of the change and
well, DBG. I think DBG is from Newsphere. It's the one that is used integrated with PHP ED, that ID, and there is also Xdebug from Derek Rathens, and well, those are very popular debuggers. Well,
there could be tons of others that are not popular too.
There is also Zen debugger, but he is from Dimitri is from Zen, so we'll make sure that it works for their own debugger. Well, I guess there is a pull request already here, and there is also people discussing it there. Well, this discussion was some time ago. I don't know. Well, anyway, the idea is to provide yet another speed improvement. It could not be a big deal, but it's hybrid VM is about 4% faster compared to PHP 7.1 for this. Well, this is a comment from Sebastian Bergman. He is the developer of PHP Unit. And well, usually PHP Unit tests CPU intensive things. Not
you should coin the term yet another speed improvement.
Yeah, yet another.
Sounds very nice.
Because well, maybe if you do many of those in a few months, you actually get a great speed improvement made of all small speed improvements.
Yeah, but you had the article comparing different PHP versions, and they increased tremendously. So yet another speed improvement provides yet another speed improvement in reality too.
Yes, and it's different speed improvements that build on top of each other. They do not destroy what was achieved before. But also keep in mind that, for instance, for PHP 7.1, the speed improvements that they got were actually came, I think, from Zend Optimizer. So they existed for many years. It was not exactly a new thing in PHP 7.1. It was more like an integration of something that used to be proprietary, and now it's part of PHP. Well, okay, I don't know. I think this could be just that, yet another speed improvement, and hopefully by the time we get there to PHP 7.2 or PHP 8.0, we have a good bunch of speed improvements so people can celebrate. Personally, I'm not complaining, although I am still trying to find time to move on to PHP 7. So by the time that I actually do it, I'll probably skip a few PHP 7 versions. Maybe I jump to PHP 7.2 or not. It will depend on how many backwards incompatible changes I'll face. What I have learned over the years is that you should not jump to many versions because you have many broken things. Maybe you should jump one version at a time and see what happens for a few days. And because people think, oh, I have unit tests. Man, the unit tests were not planned to test those things that break.
Yeah.
They were planned to test things that they knew they used to break in the past. So they can be helpful, but not perfect.
Yes. What is something that actually breaks the mechanism that does the unit testing? So you can't even do unit tests.
Yeah, sometimes you have to chase the tests so that they can pass. So what's the purpose of doing it? If you need to adjust the tests to make the unit testing work, that's crazy. Okay, that will be a whole story, and people get a bit sensitive when we talk about the religion around tests. Okay, moving on to the next topic. I think this one is more your field, right? Because you said you work with Raspberry Pi already. So
Pi. Okay, let's go with Pi.
I'm not sure anymore. Now
I think English is right for Pi. That's my mistake.
Yeah, because in Portuguese we also say P, but but I don't know. Pi in English used to have a E, but it will be like apple pie. That's not the case. It's not apple pie; it's Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good enough. Good enough. Also tasty.
Yes, I hope so. I don't think I've tried any of them, but okay. Well, so this is an extension for accessing Raspberry Pi hardware from PHP. You have done some work or played with Raspberry Pi, but not in PHP, right?
No, not in PHP, but yeah, it's similar. Basically, I have set up thermo sensors in every room, so I have a dashboard where I see all the temperatures of all the rooms in the house, and it also controls the heat over the sensors. So basically, you have some relay in the heating unit. And yeah, so the idea is that Raspberry Pi itself is just a Linux machine on some very small and very weak hardware. I would say it's performant or powerful. It's kind of weak, and you have to kind of optimize it for it always. And then it has a GPO on it's the same hardware. It's GPO. Basically, it's a general purpose input output. It's just a pins that you can attach. some sensors. Like there are predefined pins that have voltage, that have ground, and then other pins you can switch them either being input or output, and then you can attach different sensors. Like if you need to have an input pin, that then you attach a sensor that sends information to it, reads information, yeah. Or if you have an output pin on a relay switch that switches, turns off electricity on or off, and stuff like that. And another interesting case that those pins usually have some numbers, but they kind of differ between Raspberry Pi versions, and that was also a pain. I know which version I have, so I could hard code them. But now as I look through this class, I see that you can actually get the Raspberry Pi version and have an if to check about if it has this version, then you can have set up this pin number or that pin number, so it can differ based. So you can make a general software not to run on one specific Raspberry Pi version, but run on any of them. So if you know the differences, you can write them generic software, universal software, basically. And yeah, so it can switch pins. It can set direction, input, output. It could write. Yeah, it could read from pins and do all the stuff. So basically, all that you mostly need to do with sensors or other systems that you connect with these pins, this class should be able to handle them all.
Yeah, actually, this is an extension that exposes a class.
Yeah, okay, true.
To do all the work. I have not evaluated this because I never work with this hardware. I hardly have time to do all my stuff in software, let alone playing with hardware. I even wanted to buy some DRI drone that was just released a few days ago, but I probably will not even have time to play with it. But this is probably very interesting for hobbyists and maybe some professionals that actually do some kind of useful devices. So you mentioned that you use it to control your house heating, right?
Yeah.
So
it's just some smart system that I want to try to develop myself, and I did it together with my wife.
So you control it from a computer or your mobile phone, or what do you do?
Well, you have a Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi server with Node.js running on it, and it's an API. It has an API, so you can do it from mobile, from phone, from TV. I just develop a page where I can control everything, HTML page, and you can load it in the browser and control.
So it is accessible from Wi-Fi?
Yeah, or internal network.
Okay.
From a local network, basically, through the router.
So did you made great savings in your power bill, or was this just an experiment to see what you can do with it?
Yes, it more was a hobby, fun project, but also to make something that would be useful for us. So heating on the heating device itself, but rather you can do it from any room, and you can also watch the temperatures in all the rooms, or some specific room, or any room, or stuff like that. So you can control all the logic that you want.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds fine. Sounds fun.
All separated in many parts, like 3 different parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it actually last summer. Quite nice.
Okay, that's fine. Well, moving on to the next topic, there is now just a proposal here to deprecate the so-called parem null for PDO. PDO takes prepare statements, and when you actually specify values for the parameters, usually you need to specify a type, except that null is not a type, it's just a value that has no type. Any value that needs to be assigned could be null, so it's not type specific. Other than that, there are these functions in PGO that you could use like bind value to specify the value for a certain parameter, but they say here that it does not make sense. So the proposal is to be replaced by some code that would not need a type because the value would be null. So null is not a null type. And they wanted to make I think, well, let me see if I find the, no, the voting did not start on this. This is still being discussed. So I think they still need to change the drivers, which is complicated because drivers are basically extensions inside PHP, and there are old PHP versions and new PHP versions, and to make your code work, it would be for the future versions, but somebody has to update the drivers.
Yeah, they say that they looked at the drivers and some will require modifications to compile once this constant is removed, but they want to lose functionality, so nothing will change much. They only just remove the constant and recompile it.
Yeah,
as I understood.
Well, that's for those extensions, but there are people that are using old PHP versions, and
Then they would need to use older extension versions too.
Yes, that's to make it complicated. Well, okay, you have to decide which version you use and deal with it. Just thinking about libraries that use PDO and they have to think about future versions, you cannot put the null type and current versions. You have to. This is to complicate more the lives of those that develop libraries that are agnostic.
Yeah, I also thought that this change is not such a big change that it would make life easier for someone, but they state that supporting it adds some weight to PDO. So there may be something underneath that we don't really know about that really adds that weight, and maybe without this param null constant, it would be easier to maintain the code, or it would be faster or lighter. I don't know.
Yeah, well, as it says here, it's still under discussion. I did not go to the actual thread, so I did not follow all the details. Or how is it going? Maybe it's probably not going anywhere because it's one of those non-features that probably do not hurt having this currently. I don't see a big problem to still have this code. Maybe in the future, PHP versions would allow the same both types of code without complaining, because developers are already having a hard time dealing with the really important backwards compatibility issues. So if they want people to upgrade, do not bother them. That's just a suggestion. Okay. Anyway, moving on to the next topic. This is probably more important because SSL 2 and 3 are dead, I would say, but there are many servers that are still using them. I even have upgraded my servers to disable SSL completely recently, and even used that tool of SSL Labs to test the server, so I could get a good grade because I was still supporting.
Which one? A plus.
I'm not sure. It's I don't think it's plus.
Yeah, you need to have some additional features like specific strict headers that upgrade connection or something like that. Then you will get A plus.
No, that's not me. I wouldn't do that. My difficulty was to compile newer versions of OpenSSL. I lost a significant amount of time because I compiled my web servers manually. I don't use those packaged versions. I had to compile the new OpenSSL versions to make it work. And it was still not working with the newer versions. It was using a version installed on the machine. And I cannot upgrade the machine right away on my server that was testing. So finally, I realized that I have to pass the library path at runtime. It was not just a compile time thing. Now it's working. For Apache, I had to write a sort of a wrapper to make it work with the newer version. But that was a problem specific to Apache. But I lost lots of time with this. This is very frustrating. That's why no developer wants to be a DevOps. If you are a DevOps because you want to, not because you have to, like me. Okay, so anyway, this RFC is proposing to use to kind of force TLS even if you specify SSL. So if you use TLS in the connections that you specify for PHP open file functions, it will be equivalent to TLS 1.0, 1.1, 1.2. It would try any of these. If you put SSL, it would be an alias to TLS, so no SSL for you. But you can still use some workaround to, where is it, the workaround here?
In the backwards incompatible, yeah.
You could put this and it will use the versions of SSL cryptography that people are still using. I guess for many years, many servers will still use SSL, even though it's not secure, but nobody is talking to whoever maintains those servers. They probably are running on old servers that if you change one thing, you have to change everything, including the operating system version. So people are probably not going to deal with that. They'll be vulnerable, and that's the way it goes. But PHP must move on. So PHP cannot be blamed for promoting insecure software. They are going to starting PHP 7.2 to make any SSL references be an alias to TLS. And if you still insist on using SSL for some reason, you have to force some parameters there. So I have to do it intentionally. That's what I got from this.
Yep.
So are you using TLS in all of your servers?
I think so, yeah.
Are you not sure?
Well, for the servers that we are managing, of course, we are still kind of allowing both TLS and SSL connections, like through HTTPS and stuff like that. But yeah, there were some problems as far as I remember. But sometimes we still need to support them.
Well, for a moment, I even tried to force it just TLS 1.2, but it was not a good idea. there were more problems ahead. Anyway, it was not absolutely necessary, although I suspect that sooner or later somebody will find out that TLS 1.0 is also vulnerable, if they did not do that already, because I'm not a security expert. I do what I do, but I need to study. I'm not hooked to the security aspects every day, but it is something that everybody should do. Anyway, this is just a plan for PHP 7.2. So now we are going to move on to some articles that were published in PHP Classes blog on May. Arthur, which ones would you like to comment?
Okay, let me share the screen. Which is the correct screen? I think this one is. It's a problem if you have multiple screens. So
that's because you are very rich.
So you can see my screen?
Okay, you need to talk.
Yeah, sure. So the first article is digital document management with EverSign SaaS, and it was written by Dave Smith. So what is it about? It's about a digital document signing, and well, it's always been a problem. Like at first, if you want to get signatures of all needed members on a document, you would have to send it by post or by courier somewhere, and it takes time. It costs lots of money. Then with a more digital, not also digital, but analog way, was the faxing document and copying it over and over, and it's also was problematic and stuff like that. And then with this new digital age, we can digitally sign our signatures, and it's not like real signature appearing on the document, but it's like a stamp that approves that we reviewed it and signed it, approved it. And in this article, Dave talks about specific service, which is EverSign service, which allows you to manage and sign these documents. So there's a link here too. Oh, okay. It did not open a new window. But the point is that digital signed documents are legally binding, so it's the same as you would sign them with your signature. And I don't know how exactly this works there, but here, for example, we pay per signature, I think, or you can buy like bulk signatures and then sign multiple documents for cheaper stuff. Maybe there is a monthly payment here. I don't really know. But the idea is that you can do it, and there is a class that provided, I think, was by same Dave Smith, right? And maybe I can jump to that other article if you want to mention something here.
No, no, I don't know. Well, I don't. I did not study how this works because it depends on legislation and laws in different countries. But over here, just use digital certificates, and even if your signature is there in written, it doesn't matter. What matters is that the certificate it's yours and can be verified digitally, regardless what kind of signature you have in the actual document that eventually you can print or not. But this platform probably works for signing documents in countries that support this format digital signing. But okay, you were going to talk about the other article that is actually how to use this platform from PHP, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it's the mentioned EverSign PHP document signing package, also developed by Dave Smith, I think, right? Let me just recheck. But I think it should. Yep. Yes. So and here he describes how you can manage your documents through PHP. Like you can have create your own UI that would connect to the EverSign website and manage your documents and upload new ones. So of course, first you need to authenticate yourself. So you provide your API key and your business ID, and then you create the instance. And I don't know exactly what about the endpoints and other configurations. You would probably have to check the class. But basically, yeah, you can list all the documents or all the templates that you have in your account. So you upload documents to your account and create templates You see, you can have all documents or some specific statuses or some specific templates that you have created. Then you can work with specific documents. So you can set a specific document, and then all the other function calls would refer to the actions of this document. Yeah, so you can cancel it. No, you can cancel the document. So you set document, then you do some actions, then you like go out of this document context or something like that. So you can create a new document, add files from URL or add local file and upload it. Add a signer, others who sign yourself. Yeah, here is also a file uploading example. So basically, yeah, I don't know really. They probably provide, EverSign provides their own UI for signing it, but if it's more, I think, of a white labeling thing, and you would want to do in your own inside your own business, but still outsource this legal side of this signing the document. So that's probably why we would use their API and implement it in your own UI. I think that would be the right case. So if I'm, for example, some kind of I don't know, like a seller or marketplace, and I need users to have signed a document agreement that they're legally binding document that they're agreeing to the terms that you could probably implement this through their API and do that.
Yes, so
just
this is yes. I guess this is useful. I just would like to add that API is from API layer that has provided many APIs for which Dave Smith has written PHP wrappers to access those APIs.
So EverSign is also from the API layer, or?
Exactly. That's
Wow.
what I mean. They are investing a lot on doing many APIs for common things. Those are simple APIs, and they are building a business around that, which is great because it helps a lot. At least in PHP classes, I use that API to generate PDF from HTML templates, and it is used to generate the certificates for Innovation Award winners. We just defined it as HTML, and it was a big time saver. And you just pay a small fee, monthly fee to generate those documents, and then use the API on demand for generating the few certificates that are necessary. A few, like not many, more than 10 a month, but it's an ongoing service. And well, this one about digital signing, I guess it is useful if you're developing some kind of application that needs to sign contracts between users and providers on your website. And well, this is great. Well, we'll have to wait and see what is coming more from API layer in terms of useful APIs. So on my behalf, I'll also like to share to talk about a couple of articles. One is not really about PHP, but is interesting for developers in general because, as mentioned in previous articles, Hired is having a way of working. They work in many countries, in many cities, and they have many companies that are looking for professionals, developers, and specifically in what is the target of the PHP classes and other sites for developers. So they posted this article. Actually, I posted for them because they want to tell about how it works in a few sentences. Then you can go on their site and learn more about the details. So basically, rather than having you looking for a job, maybe your next job, which is a job that will have in the future because you want to evolve your career, they will seek you matching the requirements of the companies and your capabilities. So this is just basically a call for you to go to the hired site if you are looking for better jobs, even if you already have a good job now. So the other article that I wanted to mention is one from Sharuz Nawaz from Pakistan. He has written a class that uses the Cloudways API to connect to their structure and manage cloud servers. Let's say if you have a site that is hosted in a cloud servers, multiple servers, you may want to manage the demand automatically, and that you can use the Cloudways service. And they do it for you with many different cloud hosting providers. And this package here is a class that can send requests to their API. They are telling how do they do it. And for this, Sharuz develop a package to access their APIs. And this article is explaining how you can manage perform whatever are the tasks to manage the servers. You can get all the servers, delete servers, and do everything that you need. So this is basically a tutorial article to make things easier. So this is basically what they are offering for now, and it's interesting. I certainly want to look into this in the future because I'm not very interested in doing it myself or hiring somebody to manage the cloud hosting manually. So I still need to learn. I'll certainly look into this in the future. Were you going to say anything, Arthur?
No, always good.
Okay. Okay.
I would not. I don't not want to manage it myself too.
Yeah, we don't want to be DevOps, although we have to sometimes. Well, now we are going to start talking about the Innovation Award winners of March, starting from the JS classes and some live transmission started at the same time. Anyway, now I'm going to hand over to Arthur that is going to start commenting on the winners of March JS classes.
Yes, already ahead of you. Yes, you see my screen shared. I'm ready.
Yeah, and I have an inception effect here, if I can.
Awesome effect. Love it all the time.
Yes, it's only Google can do this thing. Okay, so we have like 3 packages. Which ones would you like to comment? Oh, certainly comment on your own.
Yeah, we'll have to probably. So the first package is Jquery Aggregate. Basically, it was developed by Emil Kilage from Sweden, and it's sort of like Excel AutoSum function. So basically, we would have. Let me check if there is. Yeah. So we would have multiple inputs with values, and then we would aggregate the sum to one specific other element field. So by calling this, we would simply sum up all of the values for these inputs and answer number here. I know if they're retroactive, like if they're listening, so if you change number, it would change too. I did not check.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. It's like a spreadsheet that you have calculated cells, and with that you can actually automate maybe some forms, maybe some order entry that you show the totals of the order. Okay. So what you're going to say? Show.
It seems you need to call get all the time. So yeah, you can bin the get to the key app listener, for example, and you would have this automatically too. Okay. And there is no price, I think, for Emil.
Yeah, there are some delays because there were some problems to communicate. I think it was with Pact and O'Reilly, but it is sorted now, and maybe that was one of the prizes that is not communicated yet. Okay, so now I think you were going to comment here on package, right?
Yep, so it's a Countly SDK for Node.js. I have one similar submitted for WebJS, and on one side they may seem kind of similar. They shared some code base, but on the other side, the metrics and the way you track on server is something completely different than you would do on the website and front end. But yeah, the idea is similar. Their SDK is collecting data and sending to the Countly server, and it was developed by me.
Who would guess? So I see. I actually didn't quite get it quite right. I thought it. So those events are reported from Node.js directly, or do you mean browser side events reported to Node.js and Node.js reports to Countly?
No, this is directly from Node.js. If you want to run analytics on a Node.js server, so like. For example, IoT device like Raspberry Pi can be its own like server and sending events about who connects, for example, or stuff like that. So you can select what data you want to collect, or are they alive, are they online, and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Well, I also will comment on another package if the inception method is not getting the way. Basically, there are like there's this web dev client. And this web dev is, I think, it's very whole protocol on top of HTTP to manage files on a remote server. So it sends requests to the web server that you may be having web dev running. It's an extension of HTTP. So it would take standard commands that, for instance, from a browser-side client in JavaScript, which is the case, that sends those requests via AJAX. So this package developed by Dom Hastings. It is interesting because if you have a web dev running on a server, you can do several things, not just manage files. You can browse them, preview files like fonts, videos, and images, and even create some directories for you to manage the files that you want to eventually submit there. So this is an interesting package, but we only had 3 nominees. So we move on to the rankings of Innovation Award winner of JavaScript in 2017 so far by author Emil Kilaz with the 3 packages and 11 points. Is ahead, first place. Then follows Martin Barker with 2 packages in 9 points from United Kingdom. Then Martin Latter, the other Martin from United Kingdom with 1 package and 5 points, followed by Anders Toth, 1 package and 3 points. Then Arthur Stossen, 1 package and 3 points is tied. Also with Jeremy Judo from China. And then in 7th place comes Leonardo Mauro Pereira Moraes from Brazil.
I could have guessed that he's from Brazil.
Yeah, because of the flag. The flag.
No, because of the long name.
Yeah. Sometimes people, it's not common, to put long names. Usually it's just the first and the last, but some people just like to show their own family's names. Anyway, there is tied with Tio Iwaski, David Normington, and Tom Loprad from Spain, with all with on package in 2 points. By author, the rankings are more or less similar. Like first, there is United Kingdom with 5 packages and 17 points. Then Sweden with 3 packages and 11 points. Hungary is tied with Latvia, China with 1 package and 3 points. Then comes Brazil, Germany, and Spain with 1 package and 2 points. So this is for the JavaScript Innovation Award. For the PHP Innovation Award, you usually have much more nominees. So for March, we had 13 nominees. Okay, Arthur, which ones would you like to comment first?
Okay, let me go in this order. So PHP, first one is PHP Json Query, and basically it allows you to query JSON data. You have a JSON object and you can query in an XPath similar element like you would query the XML file. It was developed by Nahid bin Ajar from Bangladesh. And I think here you can see the simple example. So here you have some JSON that you imported from a file, and then you find node users where attribute ID is equal to 6, for example, and you get the result. So yeah, something like this, a queryable mechanism to query JSON data. If you have large documents, you want to see some subset of it, then this could be useful. And now he chose one downloadable copy of Komodo ID for this package. Next one is a media converter. So it can convert audio and video. And here are the available formats: 3GP, MP3, AVI, basic, all popular formats. And it also can generate GIF or GIF, I don't remember what was the correct version of pronunciation, files as a previews of these videos.
I say GIF, but I know. I
there
usually
was
say GIF.
Yeah, me too, because it's more Latvian way too. But I think there was recently a discussion about this, and the author who invented the format, he explained how it should be pronounced, but I don't remember the correct version right now.
Okay, never mind. Who cares?
Yeah. So this package was displayed by Sergey Vanyushin from Russia, and he got 1 PHP Storm ID 1-year individual subscription for this package.
Yeah.
PHP code fixer, find deprecated functions and variables in PHP. Probably very big project and should be very popular with all the breaking compatibilities between PHP 7 older versions and what's coming in the new version. This should be a top package, I think, and it should be updated constantly. So it should be also quite a work for the author, who is Sergey Vanyushin, that we just also mentioned, from Russia. But yeah, I really think this package has a huge potential, but it also requires a large amount of work to put in it.
Yeah, but it's quite useful, as you said, because if you have large code bases that for some reason you finally decided that it's time to migrate to newer versions, you probably have a lot of work, so packages like this can be very useful.
Yeah. So, okay, yeah, he already got his prize.
Okay, I also like to comment on the remaining packages, and first I'd like to comment some that seem more interesting for me. One is PHPF. It is to reformat scripts according to a coding style. It was developed by Subin Subi from India, and it basically can take some code that you have and reformat it according to some styles like HPP style. I'm not sure about this style, but okay. Then there is PSR1 and PSR2. So this is interesting for those that have some significant code base that needs to be reformatted to match some style that may be more convenient for some project.
Interesting. does it parse it into like abstract syntax tree or something like that, or just some
No,
general
I
string
think
replace?
it just no, I think it just uses the tokenizer extension of
Oh,
PHP
I see. Yeah,
and
that's
then rewrites it accordingly to the tokens that it gets. So this is interesting as this package. And the other package that I also want to comment, this seems simple. It's PHP time zones by Peter Kahl. He's from Hong Kong. And what it does is to retrieve the list of all the time zones that are known. And I can even validate if you have a time zone with the correct code. And it also takes the time and returns the time offsets. So if you have to deal with the time zones in your application, this package can be very, very useful because you know in the world there are many time zones, and it's something that you probably don't have it hard coded in your package in your applications, but this package can actually be used for that applications. Now, talking about the Innovation Award winners rankings, um, so far the competition has changed a bit in terms of leader. Nahid bin Azar from Bangladesh is ahead with 3 packages and 50 points, and it's followed by Sergey Vanishin with 5 packages and 49 points, and Christian Vigo from France with 3 packages and 49 points as well. In fourth comes Peter Kahl from Hong Kong with 4 packages and 35 points. Peter has been submitting many packages. It has been hard to keep up with approving all his packages, but I'm do my best regarding that. Then comes David Smith in fifth place with 2 packages and 31 points. Lars Moleken from Germany with 3 packages and 29 points. Vish Sadev from India with 2 packages and 27 points is in 7th. In 8th is Jelis Sebrechts from Belgium with 2 packages and 25 points. Then Asib Ahmad Basil is tied with Alessandro Quintiliano with 1 package and 21 points. By country, France is still ahead. This is coming very tight with United States. They have 6 packages and 76 points, and the United States 75 points. So it's just 1 point of difference for now. So this is still going to be a difference, an interesting competition, very similar to last year when France and the United States were tied practically to the end. Then comes Bangladesh with 3 packages and 50 points. Then Russian Federation with 5 packages and 49 points. Italy with 3 packages and 38 points. India with 5 packages and 46 points. Pakistan with 3 packages and 38 points. Hong Kong is in 8th with 4 packages and 35 points. Germany with 4 packages and 34 points is in 9th. And finally, United Kingdom with 3 packages and 27 points. Anyway, basically with this, it's already dark over here, and basically with this, we are completing this short version of the In PHP podcast. This time it has been a short edition because I'm transitioning to many things at the same time and also traveling, because I'm going to launch something very interesting very soon, like probably in a couple of months, that will be to help developers to create their own software product businesses, something that I've been working for more than a year, and finally will come out. Probably not in English first, but it also happened at that time. Other than that, I just want to mention that this month is the 18th birthday of PHP classes.
Oh.
I am so busy that I have not even thought about posting anything. but I think I still have a week or so to do. So with this, we practically end this edition of the podcast. I'd like to thank you, Arthurs, again for coming. And we still have the Innovation Award edition of podcasting out to ahead. So on my behalf, that is all for now. Bye.
Bye.